All right, so what's happening is this particle is moving all around right here. And one thing that we need to just kind of talk about real quick is when the particle's um, derivative is less than zero, it's moving to the left. Okay, what does that mean? That means that if let's look at another graph here. I'm going to graph the derivative this time. We're going to look at the derivative. And it's going to be something like this. This again, this is not going to be perfect, but it's going to be close, pretty close. So we're going to have something like this for a derivative based off of our graph. Okay, so as the particle is on this side of the x-axis, we're moving left. And this sounds really weird. It'll get used to it if you'll just relax and just think about it as the particle's just moving. We're just talking about movement, okay? We're not talking about it's following the actual line. And then once the particle hits the x-axis, right here, the velocity is zero. What happens when you have no velocity? You don't move, okay? You could also think of the particle as the particles below the x-axis, think of it as kind of going backwards and slowing down. And then when you hit the x-axis, you're at rest. You're not moving at all. And then when you go across the x-axis, now we're moving forward or to the right. So these are the options that we've got. Well, let's look at our particle down here in this problem. We know from 0 to 2 it's got a negative velocity. That means from 0 to 2 it's also moving left. And notice that the velocity is slowing down. Those y coordinates are getting smaller and smaller and close to 0. And when we get to t equal 2, the particle is resting. The particle is at rest. And then once we're greater than 2, then we're moving to the right. This is really a tough concept to understand, and it's going to take a little bit of practice to actually understand how that thing is moving. But if you've got an x-axis and you look at derivative, anything below the x-axis is going to be backward or left movement. Everything above the x-axis is going to be forward or right movement. And the closer you are to the x-axis, the slower that velocity is. So it'll take a little bit of practice. Again, if you run into a question right now, just please write it down or tweet it so that we've got a record of it and we can talk about it and try and sort out like some of the different things. This can be a little bit confusing, but hang in there and be patient because it will all start to make sense.